They say love is tested, not when everything is perfect, but when everything falls apart. For Michael, the only way to know if his wife truly loved him was to fake his own sickness. But what he discovered shattered his heart into pieces. Michael and Emma had been married for 7 years. Michael had noticed that Emma no longer laughed at his jokes. She barely looked at him when he came home from work. Her phone was always in her hand, her attention somewhere else. He wasn't sure if it was routine, boredom, or something worse, but the spark that once lit their lives was now gone. Would she even care if I wasn't here tomorrow? That thought buried itself deep into his heart. And that's when an idea, half desperate, half foolish, took root. The next morning, Michael told Emma he wasn't feeling well. He pressed a hand to his forehead and faked a weak smile. "Emma," he said softly, "I think I might be coming down with something." She barely looked up from her phone. "Maybe take some medicine," she said, her tone casual. "You'll be fine." Michael nodded, pretending to cough. But deep inside, something cracked. Over the next few days, he continued his act. He started moving slower, speaking with less energy, even avoiding food. He wanted to see if Emma would notice, if she'd ask, if she'd care, but she didn't. When he told her he hadn't eaten all day, she replied, "Then order something, Michael. I'm busy with my online meeting." When he said he felt dizzy, she said, "Then sit down, don't make a scene." The house grew colder each day, not because of weather, but because of the silence between them. Michael watched from the sofa as Emma laughed during phone calls. He wondered if those laughs were for someone else. At night, when he coughed, she turned her back. A week passed. Michael decided to take it further. He told Emma he needed to go for tests at the hospital. "Oh," she said without much expression, "do you want me to come?" He wanted to say yes. He wanted to tell her he was scared, even though it was all a lie. But something inside him whispered, if she truly cared, she wouldn't have to ask. So he shook his head. "No, I'll be fine." At the hospital, Michael asked his friend Dr. Lewis to help him. He explained everything, how he wanted to see if Emma's love was still real. Dr. Lewis looked at him, concerned. "Michael, that's a dangerous game. What if she fails the test? Are you ready for that truth?" Michael smiled sadly. "Maybe the truth is all I need." The doctor agreed to play along. He handed Michael a fake diagnosis letter stating that he had a serious heart condition and needed care. When Michael got home that evening, he placed the letter on the dining table, right in front of Emma. She glanced at it absent-mindedly while finishing her call. When she finally picked it up, her expression barely changed. "What's this?" she asked. "My test results," he replied quietly. She skimmed it, frowned for a second, then said, "Oh no, that sounds bad. Did they say what you should do?" Michael swallowed hard. "Rest. They said I'll need someone by my side." Emma nodded but didn't say anything. Then, almost immediately, her phone buzzed and she walked away to take the call. Michael sat there, staring at the empty chair across the table. The chair where she once laughed, where she once held his hand, where she once said she couldn't live without him. The next few days became unbearable. Emma didn't offer to cook for him or sit by his side. She went out shopping, met friends, even posted photos online with cheerful captions. One post read, "Life is too short to be sad. Smile every day." Michael read that while lying in bed, pretending to be too weak to move. Tears rolled down his face. He realized he was no longer part of the life she was smiling about. But then, one evening, a small, unexpected thing happened. While Michael lay on the sofa, he heard Emma's voice on the phone again. But this time, it wasn't playful. She was crying. "Yes, he's sick," she said between sobs. "I know I should be there for him. I just don't know how anymore. Things changed. We changed, and I feel so lost." Michael froze. For the first time, he heard her truth, raw and unfiltered. She wasn't heartless. She was broken too. That night, while she slept, Michael sat beside her and watched her face. There were faint lines of exhaustion beneath her eyes. She wasn't cruel, she was just tired. Maybe, he thought, love doesn't disappear overnight. It fades quietly, like the last embers of a dying fire. The next morning, Michael woke up early. He prepared breakfast for both of them, something he hadn't done in months. When Emma walked into the kitchen, she looked surprised. "You're up early? And cooking?" Michael smiled faintly. "Yeah, I figured I could make us both something before the next hospital visit." Her eyes softened for the first time in a long while. Over breakfast, they talked for nearly an hour. It was awkward at first, but soon they began to open up. Michael told her how lonely he had felt. Emma confessed how pressured and unappreciated she had felt. They realized that in trying to test love, they had both stopped showing love. But just as hope began to return, the phone rang. It was Dr. Lewis Afat. He thought Emma already knew the truth, but she didn't. On speakerphone, he said, "Hey, Michael, I hope the fake diagnosis didn't cause any issues between you and Emma. I'm glad it was just an experiment." The room went silent. Emma's fork slipped from her hand. Her face turned pale. "Fake," she whispered. "You lied to me?" Michael froze. "Emma, She stood up. "You pretended to be sick? You tested me like some stranger? Do you even know how that feels?" Her voice cracked, filled with hurt and betrayal. Michael tried to explain, "I didn't mean to hurt you. I needed to know if you still cared." Tears welled up in her eyes. "You wanted to know if I cared? You could have just talked to me instead of playing with my emotions." She grabbed her purse and stormed out. The sound of the door closing echoed through the house like a thunderclap. Days passed. Emma didn't come home. Michael called, texted, even went to her sister's house, but she refused to see him. He spent those days truly sick, not physically, but emotionally. He realized that trust, once broken, hurts more than any illness ever could. Every night, he replayed the moment he heard her crying over the phone, wishing he had stopped the experiment right there. One afternoon, a letter arrived. It was from Emma. In it, she wrote, "You wanted to test if I loved you? Maybe once, I would have done anything for you. But love isn't something you test, it's something you nurture. You didn't fail the experiment, Michael, you failed us." Those words hit him harder than any diagnosis ever could. Months went by. Michael tried to move on, but guilt shadowed every step. He started volunteering at a local clinic, helping real patients who were actually sick, people who wished for just one more day with someone who cared. It was there that he met an old man named Henry. Henry was dying, but always smiling. When Michael asked how he stayed so positive, the old man said something he'd never forget. "Son, love isn't proven by what others do for you when you're weak. It's proven by what you do for them when you're strong." That line changed Michael's life. He realized he had spent so long wanting proof of love that he forgot how to give it himself. One rainy evening, Michael saw Emma waiting outside the clinic, umbrella in hand. He froze. She looked tired but calm. "I heard you've been helping people here," she said softly. "That's good," Michael nodded. "It helps me feel human again." They stood in silence for a moment before Emma spoke again. "I'm not sure we can go back to what we were," she said, "but I wanted you to know. I did love you. Maybe I still do. But love without trust can't survive." Michael's eyes filled with tears. "I understand, and I'm sorry, Emma." Truly, she nodded and turned to leave, but before she walked away, she said, "One last thing. Next time, don't test love, just believe in it." As she disappeared into the rain, Michael looked up at the sky, letting the drops wash over his face. For the first time in months, he felt clean, not healed, but honest. The experiment had ended, but the lesson would stay forever. Love isn't something you test, it's something you trust. The moment you start doubting the person beside you, you stop building and start breaking.